We start our next series that will have all the explanations of the chapters of all the chapters of your supplementary textbook, that is Vistas. So in this video we are starting with the first chapter, which is the third level, written by Jack Finney. Now before starting this, let me give you the premise of the story. Now it talks about pre-war times, okay, and post-war times. Now all of us, we know how much devastating a war can be, right? It shatters humanity. It has so much of destruction. It claims so many lives. It claims properties. It claims everything. You have already read the poem Keeping Quiet by Pablo Neruda, where he talks about the futility of war, right? So the First World War and the Second World War, with reference to the chapter that we are about to start, those war times have left the people depressed, frustrated, fearful, uh, anxious. They were not happy. Mentally and psychologically, they were not happy. And now, uh, if a person is not happy psychologically in the current times and seeks refuge, then refuge means seeks temporary shelter, okay, seeks refuge, then where will that person go to, right? On the physical space, it is not possible because everything is devastated, starting from the abstract concepts like economy or love, care, all emotions, all these things, everything is traumatized, right? So the person might seek refuge or might want to escape to the pre-war times, when it was very peaceful. There was no violence, there was nothing traumatizing, right? So here, this story by Jack Finney, the third level, this is a kind of time travel, okay? Now time travel, why? Because here the protagonist, whose name is Charley, okay, he is a 30 years old man who works at an office, and he is frustrated with the current war times, and hence he seeks refuge. He wants to to 1890s escape to 1890s, to Galesburg, okay. Galesburg, Illinois of 1890s. Why? It is his grandfather's place, and it was very peaceful at that time, right? Now, uh, means trying to escape is okay, okay. Even if you want to escape to your maternal or paternal grandfather's house or grandmother's house, you can escape, right? But the time period will be same, right? It will be the parallel time, it will be the linear time. But how Jack Finney does his brilliance here is that Charlie actually travels to 1890 1890s. Being in 1940s, he travels to 1890s, and that is something mind-boggling for him. He does not understand how is it possible, and he takes certain steps that could be harmful for his current existence, economically, that is financially. But how it happens, why it happens, and what kind of resolution do we find in the story, we will understand, okay. Let us start. Now, the third level, what is level? If we try to understand the word level here, level means, you can say, the platforms in our Indian contexts, okay. Platform number one of a railway station, platform number 1, 2, 3, etc. Now, in New York, they had the Grand Central Station, okay, the Grand Central Station, and the Grand Central Station, and it had just two levels. Okay, one level and two level. Okay, the second level. But Charlie somehow discovered a third level, which is a non-existent third level. This does not exist. Okay, this does not exist, and he somehow goes into the third level where all the entire environment becomes that of 1890s. People were wearing People wore olden time clothes, the things, the lamps, the ticket windows, all those things belong to 1890s, right? So this is the background of the story. Now he got very much fascinated with it. He wanted to buy train tickets to Galesburg. Okay, because he was thinking that if I have reached 1890, that then perhaps if I buy two tickets for myself and my wife to Galesburg, I will be able to reach Galesburg of 1890. So he produces the notes, currency notes, okay, to the ticket counter, at the ticket counter, but he does not get the ticket. Why? Because the currency notes are of the newer version. In the 1890s the notes were different, and in 1940s the notes are different. So when he tried to buy two tickets with the 1940 currency notes, he got very much he was not given, and he was suspected to be a fraud. All right, now this became very much confusing for him. So what he does, he goes back, okay, and he buys old notes using all his savings, so that he can go back to Grand Central Station and go to the third level, and hence travel to 1819 Galesburg. But to his shocking surprise, after spending all his savings to buy the old currency notes, when he goes to the Grand Central Station, he could not find the third level anymore, and it was very disturbing for him. Okay, this is the background. So he was disturbed by this, and he goes to his psychiatrist friend. Okay, he has a friend who is a psychiatrist, and whom he tells about the situation. But the psychiatrist friend, it is very natural for him to say that whatever you have experienced or encountered it is just a figment of your imagination. There is no third level. Since you were so frustrated with the modern war times, you want to escape the modern war times, and you want to seek refuge. You want to fulfill your wish. Okay, you want to fulfill your wish to go to Galesburg, Illinois of 1890s, and hence your mind discovered that. So it does not exist. It is just your imagination. This is how the story starts. Okay, let us go through the text. The presidents of the New York Central and the New Haven and Hartford railroads, which will swear on a stack of timetables that there are only two. So this is the fact that Charley is saying, that everyone can swear on this, that there are only two levels, but I, that is Charley, says there are three, because I have been on the third level of the Grand Central Station, right? So definitely this is some kind of imagination, some kind of mental trick that his brain was doing, and hence he says, yes, I have taken the obvious step. What is the step? He went to a psychiatrist friend of his. He told him about the third level at Grand Central Station, and he said, this is the natural response of the psychiatrist, that he said it was a waking dream wish fulfillment. He said, I was unhappy. The modern world is full of insecurity, fear, war, worry, and all the rest of it. And that is why he wanted to escape, and hence the imagination, the third level. right? That is the explanation, or that is the what should we say, that is how the psychiatrist made him understand. Okay, but here is the point. He's saying that I told him about about the third level at the Grand Central Station, and he said it was a waking dream wish fulfillment. This is a very important phrase. Waking dream wish fulfillment. That means you are awake, yet you are dreaming, and in that dream you have fulfilled your wish. What was the wish? To go to the pre-war times, peaceful times of Illinois. Okay, and that is why he discovered the third level. The psychiatrist had said he was unhappy, so that made my wife kind of mad. In one of the CBSE board's question paper, this question had come, that what do you mean by this? That why was it that this statement, he said I was unhappy, this could have made his wife mad. That is because the moment the friend said that perhaps you are unhappy and that is why, so unhappy means maybe he is not happy with his wife, and that perhaps could have made his wife mad. But then, and the psychiatrist explained that it is just your escapist mode that got triggered. Okay, escapist mode that got triggered, since you want to escape the modern world which is full of insecurity, fear, war, worry, etc. Charley acknowledges it but says, defends by saying these. Charley says that everybody in this world now, in these times, would want to escape, but not everybody ends up finding another third level at the Grand Central Station. It has happened only with me. Okay? And how does he counter his friend's arguments? He said, that's the reason. He said, and my friends all agreed. Everything points to it. They claimed. Now see, this is a very important point. Charlie has the hobby of stamp collection. Okay, and according to his friends and also the psychiatrist friend, his stamp collection is also a temporary refuge from reality. He wants to seek refuge, he wants to escape the reality, and hence he is doing it by taking part in the past, and that by that how he collects stamp as a hobby. Now, on a different note, the hobby of stamp collection is called philately. Okay, this is called the hobby of stamp collection. Please note it down for your vocabulary enrichment. But Charlie again argues that my grandfather, so his grandfather was also a person who used to collect stamps, and what kind of reality was he in? If he was saying that, Charlie is trying to make his point, that if you were saying that I want to escape the reality, the harsh, war stricken reality of today's times, and that is why I collect stamps, which shows that I am interested in the past, in the history. So, if that is the point, just tell me why my grandfather also used to collect the stamps. So his grandfather also had the hobby of collecting stamp, and what he did not need any refuge from reality. Things were pretty nice and peaceful in his day, from all I hear, and he started my collection. So he also had started. It's a nice collection. Blocks of four of practically every US issue, first day covers, and so on. Even President Roosevelt collected stamps. So Charlie is arguing that my stamp collection is not an attempt to escape the current reality, because my grandfather also used to collect stamps and President Roosevelt also used to collect stamps. So what are they? What kind of reality were they escaping from? All right. Now, before we move forward, let me give you a quick definition of what a first day cover is, because this is very important for the next part and consequent part of our chapter. Okay. What is a first day cover? Just a second. It is there in your textbook as well. In your textbook only. When a stamp is issued, stamp collectors buy some and use them to mail envelopes to themselves on the very first day of sale, and the postmark proves the date. The envelope is called a first day cover. So what does it mean? Stamp collection is a very passionate hobby, right? And every person who collects stamps would like to collect the stamp on the day when it is issued, on the day when it is launched, right? So he says that uh, my grandfather also used to collect the first day covers. Now, what is a first day cover? Let me give you a very relatable example. If you are a die-hard fan of any actor, for example Shah Rukh Khan, okay, and if I want to see the first day, first show of that actor, I will take the ticket, I will buy the ticket, and the ticket will be torn, and the ticket will have the date and time, right? Which will prove that I have bought the ticket, and the tearing part will prove that I have seen the first day, first show, and I will preserve the ticket. This is done by many fans, you know. Now, this will definitely prove that I have attended the first day first show. Now, corresponding to what we are doing here, stamps, okay? For example, a stamp is issued on the date 11th June, 11 June 1894. Okay, 1894. Now, what shall I do? Suppose I am a stamp collector. I will go to the post office, I'll buy the stamp, okay, I'll put it on an envelope. Fine, I'll put it on an envelope, I'll paste it there, and I will write my own address as the receiver's address. So it is like the sender and the receiver are is the same. I will be using the stamp and posting the letter on the first day to my own address, and this envelope is called first day cover. All right, so what will happen when I am collecting the stamp? Obviously, if you simply buy the stamp, it does not make you a passionate stamp collector. You have to use the stamp, you have to collect the stamp on the day, collect the stamp officially on the day it is launched. So what does he do? What does the person do? He just takes the stamp, puts the postman's seal is there, and he sends the letter, mails the letter to his own address. So when the envelope reaches his residence, he has the first day cover, which is a blank envelope. It has nothing inside it, but the stamp is there, which bears the date on the date on which it was launched. All right, that is the first day cover, and this is a very important, very crucial point for you to keep in mind. Moving on to the next part. Anyway, so now he gives what had happened. One night last summer, he was working late at the office. He was in a hurry because he wanted to go to his apartment. He decided to take the subway from Grand Central because it is faster than bus. Okay, he wanted to go soon to his wife. All right. So, who is he? He is flabbergasted, he is confused as to why this strange experience has happened to him, because he considers himself to be just an ordinary guy named Charlie, 31 years old. And this detail here is a very important thing. I was wearing a tan gabardine suit and a straw hat with a fancy band. This detail in costume shows the modern costume. This is the modern costume, and that is why this detail has been given. Okay, otherwise it would have been very unnecessary. I passed a dozen men who looked just like me, and I wasn't trying to escape for anything. Why was he hurrying? He just wanted to get home to his wife Louisa. Then he went to the he I turned to into Grand Central Station from Vanderbilt Avenue and went down the steps to the first level. So he reaches the first level, where he takes where popular trains like the 20th century departs, right? Then he takes another flight of stairs to the second level, where the suburban trains. Here, this is the level from where he would have boarded the train. Okay, ducked into an Charley from ducked into an arched doorway and heading from for the subway got lost. That's easy to do. This is very normal. Okay, and he has been into the station many times. But every, and this is the uniqueness of Central Station. This line shows how huge Grand Central Station is. Although he says, although I have come here hundreds of times, but every time I am bumping into new doorways or stairs and corridors, because it is not possible for a person to explore the entire Grand Central Station at one go. It is so huge, so many branches, as if a huge tree just grows its roots. Okay, just like that, the Grand Central Station also has its many, the many sub routes. All right. Once I got into a tunnel about a mile long and came out of the lobby of the Roosevelt Hotel. So he got into a tunnel, that is a train, okay, and a tunnel about a mile long, and then he came out of the Roosevelt Hotel lobby part. So you can see in the movies also you have seen that the train, the rail lines, okay, the lines are connected to buildings, one building or another. Another time I came up in an office building on 46th Street, 3 blocks away. This description is given to show how big and enormous Grand Central Station is. And hence he is using a simile to compare the Grand Central Station. What does he say? Sometimes I think Grand Central is growing like a tree, pushing out new corridors and staircases like roots. There is probably a long tunnel that nobody knows about, feeling its way under the city right now, on its way to Times Square, or maybe another to Central Park. So he is saying that we would never be able to successfully explore each and every corner of the Grand Central Station. Some or the other time we would discover new things, new portions, new parts. All right. And he compares, this comparison is very important and very subtle. See, he compares the Grand Central Station, station's corridors and staircases like routes. Now routes itself has the connotation to history, to our past, to our identity. Okay, so every references that he gives has some kind of association to his escapist mindset, that he is fond of the previous war times. The corridor I was in began angling left, slanting downward, and I thought that was wrong, but I kept on walking. So uh, he started following the corridor. Angling left means it just took a left angle, okay, and this is the time he realized that this should not have been there. I think that was wrong. However, he continued walking. He could hear only his own footsteps, there was nothing. Then I heard that sort of hollow roar ahead, that means an open space and people talking. So he could he could listen to the roaring and echoing sound that comes out of a hollow space. Okay, as if that means what? Just ahead of that space you will find people and you will find lives there. Okay, the tunnel turned sharp left. I went down a short flight of stairs and came out on the third level of the Grand Central Station. This is where the story takes its turn, the description of the third level. Now this part is very important for your exam. What are the things that he notices in the Grand Central Station? Okay, first thing, first difference, the room was smaller. The room was smaller. There were fewer ticket windows and train gates. The information booth center, that is the information center, was made of wood and old looking. The man in the booth wore green eye shade. Now this is the green sunglasses, something that used to be prevalent in the olden times, and also long black sleeve protectors. And this is also the older form of costume. The lights were dim and sort of flickering. Why? Because they were not electric lights, but open flame gas lights, fire. Okay, those were not electric. What more did he notice? What more? These things belong to the olden times. He saw brass spittoons on the floor. So in the previous times, there used to be, spittoons, here, brass big utensils where you can spit, right? The station, and across the glint of a man was pulling. So a man was there who was pulling a gold watch from his vest pocket. So this is the pocket watch that he was having, that man. Whereas in the current times of Charley, they had wristwatch, right? He snapped open the cover, glanced at his watch, and frowned. What kind of dress was he wearing? A derby hat, a black four-button suit with tiny lapels. He had a big black handlebar mustache. So all these things belong to the older times. Okay, older times costumes you can see here. What is he realizes? He realizes everyone in the station was dressed like 1890 something. So it was the time of 1890s. So many kinds of dresses, so many kinds of mustaches, sideburns, etc. How was the women's dress? The women wore a dress with leg of mutton sleeves. That means the upper part of the sleeve was puffed up. Okay. And skirts to the top of her high buttoned shoes. So this is again the older costume. Back of her, out on the tracks, I caught a glimpse of the locomotive, that is engine, a very small Courier and Ives locomotive with a funnel shaped step. And then I knew this is what made him understand that he has come to 1890s. So in order to be sure, what does he do? He went to the newspapers, a newsboy who was selling newspapers. And what was the newspaper that he was selling? The World. Now in the times to which Charley belongs, the World hasn't been published for years. The lead story was of President Cleveland. Okay. I have found the front page. I have found that front page since in the public library files. It was printed June 11, 1894. So he has reached a date which belongs to the past time, way before the two world wars. Okay, that is June 11, 1894. Have you understood? So, of course, he is now fascinated with the fact that if I can buy tickets, I can go to Galesburg, Illinois. He turned towards the ticket windows, knowing that here on the third level he could buy tickets that would take him and Louisa anywhere in the United States we wanted to go. Right? In the 1894, this is important, and hence he decides to buy tickets to go to Galesburg, Illinois of 1894. Have you ever been there? Now this is an address to the reader. Why is he fascinated to go to why to Galesburg specifically? Okay, because it was full of peace and harmony. There was no stress, there was no war, everything was very much peaceful. And he says, it's a wonderful town. Big old frames, huge lawns, tremendous trees whose branches meet overhead and roof the streets, that is forming canopy. So right from the description you can understand that these things are not found in the modern world. Trees are not there, big houses, huge lawns are not there, everything is congested. All right. And in 1894, summer evenings were twice as long. There was no pollution, there was no global warming. The climate had been cooler. People sat on their lawns, the men smoking cigars and talking quietly, the women waving palm leaf fans, since there was no electricity at that time, at least they could not afford that. The fireflies all around. In today's times, we do not see fireflies at all. In a peaceful world. To be back there with the First World War still 20 years off and the Second World War 40 years in the future, I wanted 2 tickets for that. This is a very important question, students. Why did Charlie want to go to Galesburg, Illinois of the year 1894? These are the points that you should write, and these will secure you good marks. Okay, why? Not only the details but also the peaceful times. They were having a very laid back life, very peaceful and harmonious lives. All right, we shall continue with this in our next video. By then, please read the text properly, and if you have any doubt you can ask me. Thank you. See you in the next video.